The EP Podcast. Heard everywhere podcasts can be found, and always at theeppodcast.com.
Let's dive into the EP Podcast. Belly on up to the 9-foot homemade oak bar and pour yourself a cold one. The EP Podcast comes to you each and every Monday and now is live on YouTube, and I believe will be on Facebook Live, and as it expands out to all the other social media sites that we can get it on, we'll continue to let you know each and every Thursday night now at 8 p.m. You can tune in, you can leave comments. We're setting it up so you can jump on the show and talk with us.
We would love that.
It would be awesome.
We would love that.
And you could do it with your camera. If you don't want to do that, you can leave your camera off and just talk to us through audio. But you can watch us in the studio. It gives you a view into the bar. You can see the 9-foot homemade oak bar in my basement. You can see me sipping my bourbon today.
You posted a video tour of your bar on social. Yeah, that was pretty cool.
I'm adding all. Did I? Oh, she posted it for me.
She posted it. Yeah.
I sent her a ton of videos.
Yeah.
I don't even know what she's doing. So she put a video.
I saw it on the Southside Pod.
That's awesome. That's awesome. This episode of the EP Podcast and every episode brought to you by the First National Bank of Evergreen Park, who invest in the Evergreen Park community. After all, they love the area as much as you do. Plus, with their Total Access checking account, you get free ATMs nationwide and a $300 bonus with qualifying activities. And what did we bring up last week?
Overdrafts. No overdraft fees.
There's no more overdraft fees.
Where was this when I was in college?
There's no more overdraft fees.
That killed me in college.
And this brings me to an incredible story that literally happened this week. And this is why I use the First National Bank of Evergreen Park. Of course, get in and visit them in that iconic building at 95th and Pulaski. But I actually told somebody this week, this is why I don't use you anymore, and I have my business and my kids' accounts, and one of my accounts already, one of my personal accounts, already moved over the last couple of years to the First National Bank of Evergreen Park. I go to Bank of America, and I have an old account there that's got $2,500 in it, because that's the minimum that can be kept in that account.
Okay.
And I would have closed it years ago, but I was just like, what am I going to do with it? Just keep it as like a little extra savings in case of emergency. So we go on this vacation, and I say, okay, I'm going to pull the money out. I think I brought this up on the last show.
You did, yes.
Okay, so I go and I pull the money out, and I get this kid who sits there and tells me not only is he taking a test in 8 months, and he wants to take care of my finances. And I'm like, oh, so after the test, I'll be your test subject as to whether or not you lose my retirement? I don't think so. But he also tells me, okay, I'm moving this money for you, and I'm closing this account. And I said, thank you very much. And I leave. And then I got hit with some kind of weird, like 3-cent fee. And then I got hit with an overdraft fee. So I leave him.
Because they pull that 3 cents out of your closed account.
Right. But I leave him.
Makes no sense.
And then I get hit with I'm below the limit fee because he never closed the account.
What an idiot.
So now I'm at like negative $20 or something like that. I'm like,
what an idiot.
This is ridiculous. So I keep calling him. And he doesn't pick up the phone. A computer picks up the phone.
Of course, because it's a big bank.
Right. And it just reads his name, and then it just says leave a message for him and he'll get back. So when I hang up the phone, I start getting text messages that are literally being sent by the computer. They all say the same thing. I have 6 text messages over 3 days saying, we've been trying to reach you. Give us a call back and talk to me, with his name on there. And then a thing that says hit stop if you don't want these messages, because it's a computer that's sending it out.
Wow.
So I'm not even talking to a person. I have 2 voicemails.
Bank locally.
I have 2 voicemails that are the exact same wording, like it's being read off a script on my phone. So I'm like, I'm done with this. I'm like, you know what? I close this account. I have a thing that says I closed it. I'm never dealing with this. And I get a survey. I get a survey all of a sudden. And they send me the survey, and the survey says, well, like, what was your experience? So I write, I'm not happy. You guys are terrible, blah, 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 blah. I get a call now from somebody who goes, that guy was new. We're really sorry. He's been corrected. And I go, no. Don't pick on the poor kid that was doing it.
He was trained.
He
was not trained.
The poor kid that was doing it was following your system.
Yeah.
Your system makes me jump through 15 different computers before I get an answer. And the only reason you're reaching out to me is because I filled out your survey poorly. So now you jump in. And he goes, well, I fixed it now for you. I said, that's great. But when I left a message 4 days ago with the account number and said, can you fix this for me? All he had to do was fix it and leave me a message that says, Mr. Lanuti, I fixed it. That's what would have happened at the bank that I bank at now over there at 95th and Pulaski at the First National Bank of Evergreen Park. That's the point that I made to the guy.
Right.
And it's a real thing. Like, I spent 4 days just kind of shrugging my shoulders going, I guess I'm a bank robber because they want $20 and I'm not giving it to them. Bank robber.
Bank robber.
I walked around the house with a ski mask on my face for a couple of days.
You should.
I felt tough.
Yeah, you're a bank robber.
Joining me on the phone line right now, you can read her work at patch.com. She is your local reporter covering not only Evergreen Park, but the immediate surrounding area. Lorraine Swanson's on the line. How are you, Lorraine?
Good. How are you, Chris?
I'm hanging in there. I'm back from a vacation. I've got all these ideas. We're going to be doing all kinds of new things on the EP podcast and live streaming our recording sessions on Thursday evening.
Oh, wow.
Oh yeah. We're bringing the content. I know you put the show up. You allow us to run it on Patch, and I really appreciate that. But I want to bring more to you, Lorraine. I want to give more to your readers.
Okay, that's awesome, and we always welcome you, Chris.
What's hot right now, Lorraine? What's going on?
Well, what's really hot are these bizarre phone calls, that are being called into high schools, fake bomb threat, active shooter calls. There was one in Oak Lawn. I have had a young man from Evergreen, as a matter of fact, who alerted me to this kid who's been video recording himself making these threatening calls on TikTok. And this out-of-state teen, supposedly he's 15, he's charging $15 per threatening phone call. And there's another swatter, his name, he or she goes by the name Tor Swatter, where they use these computerized cartoon voices to make threats to schools. It's really sad. I mean, there was a hard lockdown at Nathan Hale Middle School in Crestwood, and parents were just very upset because they felt that the school was very slow in its response and letting parents know what was going on. You had middle school kids sitting on the floor in their classrooms, and it's just so traumatizing.
The fact that somebody is charging money and then calling from a different state to area schools around here to phone in these false threats. It hasn't happened yet in Evergreen Park, has it? But I know it's happened, as you said, Crestwood, Oak Lawn. It's happening on the south side.
Something about Evergreen Park High School, knock on wood. I seldom hear about, when kids went back to school in, I think it was fall 2020. There were fights. There were these bizarre texted bomb threats that a lot of schools around here were getting. But Evergreen Park High School just seemed to not have those problems. They seem not to have these incidents and the issues. And I don't know what it is. I don't know what the administration, what they're doing right, or if they're lucky, maybe a combination of both. So that's one of the things I've been working on. I'm also putting together our our Mother's Day brunch list. So if you know of any restaurants or you're a restaurant owner, please reach out to me and get you in the list.
By the way, I noticed on patch.com you have up there they've already decided who they're honoring, who's leading the Independence Day parade here in Evergreen Park in July.
Yeah, if you are active military or a veteran, the Village of Evergreen Park wants to honor its hometown heroes. They're inviting veterans and active military and their families to lead the parade, which is set this year for June 30th. There's a picture I took a few years ago. I love this woman. She has this 1,000-watt smile, and she's wearing her dress Marine Corps uniform. So that's on Evergreen Park patch. I've shared it with all the neighborhood Facebook groups. It's on our social media. So if you want to march in the parade, there's an email address that you can reserve or just let them know what your names are so they can put you in a program. And there's always fun stuff happening in Evergreen Park. It's really one of my nicer, quieter towns. So,
Lorraine Swanson, you can read her stuff at patch.com. You can get all your Evergreen Park and surrounding area news there. And we're going to have her back from time to time to kind of just let us in on what's going on in and around Evergreen Park. Thanks so much, Lorraine.
Thank you, Chris.
Building relationships, supporting the community, and service. These are the things that Country Financial stands for. They're more than just an office you may pass by as you drive through Evergreen Park. They're neighbors who lend a helping hand and support the fabric of your community, including charitable organizations, sports, financial education, and civic organizations. And since Country is already your neighbor, they want to get together and chat. Call your local Country Financial representative, Mike Thauer, today at 708-425-1559 to talk about the things that are important to you and how he can help you protect them. Antoine, otherwise known as Twizzle, from what I can see on here.
I didn't know this was going to be serious.
I like it. I like it. Twizzle. Twizzle's on the line. And Twizzle's one of Hannah's friends. And the first thing is you're on with us on the live stream that's happening every Thursday night now for an hour from 8 until 9 p.m., although we might go a little late as we test all this out on the first one. But why Twizzle?
You know that whole, like, for shizzle stuff from Snoop Dogg?
Yeah, so I know. I used to be able to say it, but now I guess if you say it now, you get in trouble. I didn't even know that. I didn't know that until that girl got fired. And I was like, I can't say that anymore?
Yeah.
I didn't know, Twizzle. I had no idea.
Yeah. It came from that. My college roommates were like, that stuff came out. They're like, Twan, Twizzle. Like, you're Twizzle. And then, then of course came Twizzle, the word we can't say.
Yeah, I know, but I didn't. I didn't even know what that meant. I just was like saying stuff at that point. I mean,
I thought everyone knew. I thought it was pretty simple. It's kind of like, eat African American pig Latin.
Yeah, but here's the funny thing.
It's just like, it's very like you can kind of get what people are trying to say. It just changes it enough where you still understand what the original word comes from.
No, I get that. But here's the funny thing. People, like, at least when I was younger and when he was big, and I've met Snoop. Snoop came to the radio station in Southern California. Pulls up outside. He's got a giant tour bus. It's like just decked out. It doesn't look like a normal tour bus. It's definitely Snoop Dogg's tour bus. And it's 7:00 in the morning. The door opens up and smoke just pours out of it.
I was going to ask if smoke was pouring out.
It just pours out of it like they had a smoke machine on. He comes walking out with a gold chalice, wearing a purple robe with fur on the thing. He's got two girls that come walking out with him. He sends them back on the bus, and he does that Snoop walk all the way through the parking lot to the thing. And I'm sitting there, and I'm laughing, and I'm amazed all at the same time. Like, it's not an act. Like, this is what Snoop is. But the funny thing is that back at that time, like, I remember that people would use it. Like, you would see people say that, like, on live television, and nobody corrected them. So that was the thing. Like, nobody ever said, "Oh, you can't say that." To me, I never made the connection, and I always thought that was when I read that article about that girl getting fired for doing the Snoop phrase and using the one word, which actually alludes to a word she shouldn't be saying.
Right.
I was like, oh, that's what it means. Because I'm just a dumb white guy. I don't know.
It's mostly Gen Z, though. It's mostly Gen Z is the forefront of the canceling movement. We're, Gen X / millennials / zennials. I was raised on Three Stooges and Blazing Saddles and Mel Brooks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'm like, Blazing Saddles is my favorite movie of all time. You cannot play that movie or make a movie like that nowadays. It will not fly.
No, you can't make any of them. I mean, look, I thought Tropic Thunder was stupid the first time. Then I giggled at it the second time.
That was gold.
That one's bad. You don't like that one.
No, I love it. It's gold.
Okay, The first time I didn't like it. The second time I laughed hysterically. Now they could never make it.
No.
And then they're defending that to this day. I would die I will die. I'll fall on a blade for Robert Downey Jr. in blackface. I don't care. I'm a black man. I grew up in the Bible Belt. I will go on record saying I will die for that man. He's the only white man I will give permission to. And I'm not the only one who says this. He can do blackface. I am not going to be offended. That man was brilliant. He deserved the Oscar that he was nominated for. Did not get. I quote those lines to this day, and I will do it until the day I die.
So you saw this trouble that Jonathan Majors is in, and he's like, because he's a big character now in Marvel, right? So I saw a thing online where somebody took the Robert Downey Jr. character from Tropic Thunder and put it side by side with Jonathan Majors and was like, I don't know, I think we could bring Iron Man back to take over that role. Let's do your EP podcast Word on the Street, brought to you by Cool Clouds Vapor Shop. Quitting smoking is hard, and Cool Clouds wants to give you an alternative full taster bar, great CBD products, located on the northeast corner of 95th and Kedzie. See all they have to offer at coolcloudsvapor.com or stop in and see them today. 3148 West 95th Street in Evergreen Park. A reminder to Evergreen Park residents, your yard waste pickup already began at the beginning of April. Been going on for about a month now. Acceptable items include grass clippings, leaves, tree branches. Non-acceptable items include dirt, stone, sod, concrete, railroad ties. Who's got railroad ties they're throwing in there? Meanwhile, there's a community blood drive coming up on May the 20th. Village of Evergreen Park hosting that at the Senior Center, 9547 South Homan. You can schedule your donation in advance at communityblood.org/donor. Click donate now and use sponsor code CS20. And the guest is sitting down here with me right now at the 9-foot homemade oak bar. It's got a ton of stuff going on over at the community center with several different departments within Evergreen Park. Is brought to you by Sid Sauce. The peppers grown here in Evergreen Park, bottled, dropped off at your door. Just got a box this weekend. Al Capone versus the Unabomber, a strawberry hot sauce. I love it on tacos. See every sauce they have to offer at sidsauce.net. Sitting down here at the 9-foot homemade oak bar, a good friend who we haven't seen in a little bit, so I'm glad he's down here, and he's got a ton of things that he wants to talk about going on in the EP, because let's be honest, it's spring, Glenn Pniewski, and the world wakes up coming out of winter, and there's stuff going on.
Yeah, and the community center where I'm located, they've been, even during the cold of winter, they were busy planning on this kind of spring stuff, so the whole communities that are all three departments that I represent have been hard at work.
The book is out now, right?
It is.
So that includes the community center that you're referring to. That would be Office of Citizen Services.
Right.
Okay, so OCS.
The Recreation Department.
The Rec Department and the Youth Department.
Exactly.
So, and these departments, I'm going to tell you, are probably three of the best run departments in Evergreen, just because of the fact there's always something going on. And every time I meet the people who are running these programs, you can tell they work like crazy, and they love their jobs,
and they like trying things new here.
Yeah.
And one thing I can just start off with the physical office where I sit in the Office of Citizen Services. They just now last week finished that AARP tax assistance program, where AARP comes in and does the taxes for age 55 or older or low income. They processed 1,600 returns. The book is out. It's online. There's hard copies. We're doing it in-house, which means that every month or so we can go in and revise it.
Okay.
Because things change. The big thing that Josie and Jill and Karen over there, they've got the, obviously the summer concerts begin. Those are always fun.
Where are they going to be this year?
Most of them are at Klein Park.
Okay.
Over there.
Or Circle Park if you're
Circle
nasty.
Park, exactly, right. The first one's on June 11th with the Stingrays, good rock and roll. And then it winds up there. The last couple of them are over at James J. Sexton Park.
Or 50 Acre Park if you didn't know that it was renamed.
Exactly.
All these parks have two names, Glenn.
Yeah,
now
they got it together. Yeah, right. And that is so aptly named,
I love that name. I think it was great.
And let me just say this, he has fought, that had been suggested for the longest time, and he fought it.
Yeah.
He did not want. But finally, at some point, the trustees and the people involved just said, "You really kind of
sounded like they tricked him.
You're not the mayor anymore."
Sounded like they just basically invited him over to the park and told him, "Hey, by the way, we named it after you."
You know, so but yeah, they'll have Smiley Tillman in, and then I believe it's Labor Day weekend. We've got the City Lights Orchestra coming, and they will have fireworks.
City Lights Orchestra, great. Smiley Tillman, he's been on the show before. Really good band. And he's been moving around on the south side.
Right.
So I noted he's done a couple of places just recently.
Right.
In the south suburbs.
Right. And then the other thing that the rec department really wants to push is they got kids signing up for the summer day camps. They're all still available. The spots are moving quickly, but that's your preschool day camp, your mini day camp, your full day camp. So
my kid loved that last year. Little Nick, he loved that one. I call him Little Nick because everybody else in here is adult sized, and then I have a 7-year-old. Okay, but he went and did that, and what's great about it is he bumps in the kids he doesn't go to school with, and he knows them because they were part of the camp.
Oh, and it
kept him busy.
They keep them busy with the field trips and things like that. The rec department does a real good job. And then also they're still taking reservation for fall preschool, which is a very healthy program. You know, from my vantage point in my office, the kids come down to gym class. A couple, there's 3 different groups, and they'll pass by my office and they'll stop and wave. It's so refreshing to see these kids come through, And of course, they've got various kids' sports, and they've got
Are they doing archery again this year?
I have not seen that one.
See, because I always thought
they
to
got
myself,
pickleball they're working on. So.
I like when they did archery in the past. I was jealous there wasn't adult archery because I would go out and fire an arrow.
Oh yeah,
or maybe archery and sip and archery.
I like
they have paint and sip,
sure,
sip and archery. Nothing can go wrong there.
No, exactly.
Everything will go well
as long as your
sip and archery.
As long as your target is about 12 feet in diameter, you're fine.
I think that'd be a fun time firing arrows off and drinking a glass of wine.
Actually, when I was a teenager, I was into archery. I got pretty good. Yeah, and then I think I told you the story before. My dad was part of a Gage Park Archery Club, and he was in a tournament. He actually Robin Hooded an arrow. He hit one dead center.
It was the arrow.
Aluminum arrows. He hit dead center, and then the next shot, they thought he missed. They walked up to it was coming out the back end of the one that he had already hit.
Wow.
He's got that hanging up in his condo.
And this
happened like 40 years ago.
I love when we do these talks with people, and they've been on the show a couple times. And so they're comfortable, and then they throw some crazy story out there that I would have never have learned.
Oh yeah, they got
the fact that Glenn Pniewski's dad
Robin Hooded an arrow,
hit an arrow and pushed it through the targets, and his other arrow was sitting there stuck into the back of it. Is incredible.
It is.
Great story.
I'll bring you a picture. And of course we've got the parade on Friday, June the 30th. With the 4th, I believe, is like the Tuesday following. And this breaks a tradition, which there was a lot of misinformation. Everyone always used to say, the parade's always on a Friday. That's not true.
Okay.
If the 4th fell on a Saturday, Sunday, or a Monday, Friday.
Okay.
Normally, if the 4th fell anywhere Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, the parade would be the day before. However, crumple that one up and throw it out. That's different this year because, indeed, the parade is on a Friday and the 4th is on a Tuesday.
All right, so it's going to be on the Friday before the weekend.
Exactly right. And, of course, the mayor of the village, they are hosting the picnic in the park in July the 27th. We worked that one last year.
That's a weeknight.
The food truck.
That's going to be a weeknight thing, right?
Exactly.
Again? And because it works really well being in the middle of the week, the entire park was full. Okay, Stacy Schubel was here a couple of weeks ago talking about
that we are getting more food
bunch
trucks.
Of food trucks coming in. I can't wait to be out there. The EP podcast for sure will be out there.
I mean,
at that event.
You're blessed with the same kind of weather we had on that one last year.
I like when you're coming in. I'm sitting there going, okay, well, we're going to be. This is on June 30th. I know the EP podcast will be along 95th Street on that date. When's the picnic in the park again?
July the 27th.
July the 27th. I got to get the tent out there for that. I think I'm going to show up to a couple of these concerts as well.
Yeah, I
just
think
got to sit in the background,
they're fun.
hang out. And as we're talking with Glenn Pniewski here on the EP podcast, just a quick reminder, if you've been injured at work, you need a team that will do what it takes to fight for your rights. The insurance companies only care about one thing, the bottom line. Law offices of Parente and Norm has the experience, dedication, proven results it takes to get you the care and compensation you deserve. Nearly $500 million has been recovered for their injured clients and loved ones. For a free case evaluation, EP podcast listeners, call or text them today at 312-641-5926 or visit pninjurylaw.com. Next week on the show, we're going to have the new owner of Porter Cullen's. That's confirmed now, but Glenn Pniewski with me right now.
Yeah, and then, so like I say, the Recreation Department, they work hard and they do a great job, as does our Office of Citizen Services. I really need to push. The one thing, now that we've got the tax program behind us, the focus now is that they've got, Beth Novotny should be a travel agent. In fact, that's in the article that I'll be posting to Patch. That's my first line, because she's got these 1 day trips, 2 day trips, full day, or 5 or 6 day trips planned. The first one, of which there is a little immediacy, is she's got a 2 day trip down to Springfield, which takes place the 21st and 22nd of June. And you, on the way down, motor coach, you stop at the Route 66 Museum in Pontiac. You hit all the sites in Springfield. You stay overnight at the Comfort Suites in Springfield, and then just see all the Abraham Lincoln, all that kind of stuff the next day. So
I've done that tour a couple of times down there, and you think to yourself, like, well, how cool could it be to actually just walk around where Abe Lincoln grew up? It is really neat.
Oh, it is. I've been down to Springfield.
The whole
a lot,
neighborhood where the house is still at is really cool to walk through.
Well, and people like the fact that they're spreading it out over 2 days, because now you can relate. Now the deadline sign up for that.
A couple of breweries down there. You can have some fun.
The deadline for that is this coming Friday, so get in. There are about, I want to say she's got about 6 or 7 spots open, so get in there. That's a good one. And then we got a trip to Starved Rock, Wednesday the 19th. In October, we've got it's a lunch on the East Troy Electric Dinner Train in Wisconsin. And then in the fall, the big 6-day trip down to the Smoky Mountains from the 24th of September to the 29th.
OCS is taking almost a week-long trip to the Smoky Mountains?
I'll be at the office holding it down, so yeah. Oh, no, they do. They did a trip to Savannah, Charleston.
You sound jealous.
Oh, no. Last summer they did a great trip to Savannah, Charleston, and they all loved it. So those multi-day trips do well, but really, do the Springfield one. Get out there for that. Farmers Market, this is a big one. They open up Thursday the 4th. Of May. May the 4th be with you. 8 a.m. What they are doing is kind of splitting it up. Is the first month will be devoted to like the florists, because a lot of people come in May and they're like, well, where's all the apples and bananas and all that? Yeah, that stuff isn't ready yet. Right. That's a summer thing.
Will I still be able to get a tamale? They got a couple of really good food.
They do have. I think some of the fast food folks are coming in.
Okay.
Yeah. But the focus on this is all things
This is
spring.
my excuse to go out and eat food that I normally wouldn't go eat.
And we'll give you a tent that doesn't fly away, so that's...
Oh, no, I'm bringing my own tent.
You got your own
time.
tent. Okay.
Yeah, the last time I went out there, they were like, oh, we got a tent for you. And the wind was picking up. And I felt so bad because I was sitting there watching the village's tent fall apart.
Right.
And I was like, I really should have brought my tent out here.
We weighted that puppy down, but it was flashbacks to Wizard of Oz. There goes Chris.
I felt like it was going to go flying away.
There you go. And of course, the memories to go, the Village Garage Sale is the 9th of September. That's always a good time.
Oh, you're way out in front, buddy. We're going to have you back before that.
Absolutely. And Youth Department, Paisha does such a great job. And the thing that they are really promoting now is the fact, first of all, once school gets off, she'll have some extended hours over there in the game room. But they're having their historical bike tour on the 29th of July. And of course, last but not least in this respect, the Recreation Department Candlelight Theater Program. Friday night, the 12th of May, and Saturday night, the 13th of May. It is something called the Great American Broadcast. It is a recreated old-time radio show. The idea of it is that we're going back to 1945. May 8th of 45 was when we had VE Day, declared victory over Europe. And so the concept of it is that 1 week later, Hollywood is uniting to put together a huge variety show. And that is the show that you will be sitting in at. So we've got patriotic music, got some funny skits.
Geez, Glenn, you guys are busy this summer.
Yeah, a big summer. I've been keeping real active. I will close this on a personal note, but there's a reason for that. Back in February, I was diagnosed with something called CLL, which is chronic lymphocytic leukemia. Yes, it is.
Oh, my goodness,
It is a cancer. However, as a doctor has told me, and in talking to several doctors and people, if you're going to have a leukemia, this is the one to have, because of the fact that with proper observation and treatment, this is not life-threatening. It's very, very manageable. I'm fine. There are people out there who are very ill. That's not me.
Well, I mean, that's good, but geez, buddy,
But,
I mean,
listen,
you saved it until we were in front of a microphone. I'm like, my jaw's on the ground.
Well,
I'm worried about
but the
you.
reason why, and there's no reason for that, and the reason why I bring this up is just to say two things. Number one, get your yearly blood counts.
Yeah.
They are just they can be life-saving, and that's where I'm at right now. The other thing too, just on if you've got issues, if you're having a feud with family or whatever, we all have those things. Fix it now. Just fix it now, because life is far, far too important, to let stupid things, swallow your pride, make that phone call, tell that person, hey, let's get together for a beer. It really rearranges your priorities.
Right.
But I'm hey,
well, you're doing okay right now, right?
Absolutely.
What you're doing so far is working very well.
Absolutely.
All right. Will you keep me updated on that? Speedy recovery
I'm
to
going nowhere.
Glenn Pniewski from the Village of Evergreen Park. He's over in the community center, OCS, youth department, recreation department, all housed over there in the southwest quadrant, and an awful lot of really interesting things, fun things, exciting things going on in the next couple of months. My friend, thank you so much. Best of luck to you.
I will be back.
It's the EP Podcast. All things Evergreen Park. It's the EP Podcast. Evergreen Park.